Car, whatever, car.
So in a time when movie remakes are a dime a dozen and more than half of them end up being cheap cash grabs that don't hit the emotional punch of the originals, I still hold out hope when I see the remake of a classic or even a crappy movie that I loved. And today I woke up and realized that one of those remakes was available for me to watch. So I did. That movie was
Roadhouse.
the original Roadhouse. Came out in 1989 and looks exactly like you'd expect it would be, directed by a man whose literal first name was Rowdy to look. It starred Patrick Swayze and Sam Elliott, who, without his mustache, still managed to steal the show. It was a blood and boob and booty and violence-filled extravaganza that only the 80s managed to produce. And so coming out at the end of the 80s, it closed the decade out in spectacular fashion. When I found out that the remake was going to star Jake Gyllenhaal, my reaction was understandable.
Are you kidding?
Now, please don't get me wrong. Jake Gyllenhaal is an incredibly talented actor. I've enjoyed him in many, many performances. I just have never seen him play anything that I would consider to be that macho 80s style action hero. The 80s produced a different kind of violence and a sort of masculinity now that can only be called toxic, I suppose. But at the time, they ate it up. Patrick Swayze would scroll on screen with his shiny chest and his incredibly deep V with a feathery mullet and blatant cultural appropriation, and he would just make everybody sploosh. And simultaneously, somehow, we believed that he would beat the crap out of people much larger and tougher looking than him. And then he dropped pearls of wisdom on us, eminently quotable lines that live rent-free in our heads forever. Things like,
Enjoy pain?
Pain don't hurt.
hey, it wasn't all nuggets of pseudo-philosophical wisdom like that we would get in. In the 80s, she dealing with all kinds of things he couldn't begin to touch now. Stuff like,
You know, I get off at 2 and I just love to get you off about a half an hour after that.
one of our favorite movies weren't giving us lessons on how to treat the fairer sex. They were giving us great quippy one-liners we could bring to the third grade playground and toss around at recess, like,
Used to fuck guys like you in prison.
how it established what a important, influential, and iconic family-friendly piece of child-oriented entertainment the original Roadhouse was. The immediate question becomes, how do we update it? How do we nerf it for the 21st century? How do we sand off the rough edges? Well, we're in luck. The original Roadhouse contained within it a simple formula for how to do such things. Okay, that seems doable. The message is simple. Remove the sexual content as much as possible and replace it with cars, boats, explosions, and violence. Just up the violence. Because if we learned anything in the last 40 or so years, it's that, kids can't handle sexuality. Death and violence, that's absolutely friendly. Good to go. So Jake Gyllenhaal as Dalton is a new take on the old Dalton. Instead of the wannabe Zen Buddhist Tai Chi practicing cigarette smoking ladies man, an all around chill dude with a dark side that you don't want to find by pushing him too far, you have instead a cage fighter with a world famous incident of violence that he's buried deep down in an attempt to just be nice that you don't want to rediscover by pushing him too far. It's pretty much the same idea, just a little more modern. Only you're not going to see Jake Gyllenhaal's butt in the moonlight making sweet, sweet love. No. But you're going to see him in the cage playing. Lots of Jake with his shirt off in non-sexual contexts. Ads, re-ads. And I'm on board for it. It's fine. And if we're going to make this a cage fighting movie, we need to bring in another cage fighter. Enter the Mad Irishman himself, Conor McGregor of UFC fame. Arguably one of the most competent fighters of our time. And if you don't endorse him as a fighter, then certainly you can recognize his talent as a shit talker and promoter. McGregor lends a certain authenticity to the violence of the movie, if not the acting per se, but you can't have just two cage fighters in a movie about cage fighters. Now you need to have a third, who to get, who looks tough, who we believe as this professional warrior of the modern era. Oh yeah, Post Malone. What, Post Malone? Oh yeah, because he's got what, face tattoos that makes him tough? What the Post Malone? Oh, I'm not, okay. Post Malone is one of the first things you see in this movie, and I think it's the movie's way of letting you know, hey, don't take this too seriously. Just come along for the ride. It's wacky. Just check it out. Don't think about it too hard. Just sit back and enjoy it, which honestly is the best advice for most action movies anyway. And if you take that advice, you're probably going to enjoy yourself. McGregor in particular does chew up the scenes. I mean, he's not an actor by any stretch of the imagination, but he does have a certain charisma as a performer. He has a stage presence that you can't really deny. The man can fight, the man can talk smack, the man can wear a really tight pair of pants, and the man's comfortable walking around with his butt hanging out in public. So, those are all good qualifiers. But the question remains, can the man act?
Hey, fellas. Looks like you're having a smashing night. Doggy! I got a tip for you. Don't let no one get this close.
No. The answer is no. The man can't act. He can fight. He can talk shit. He has all kinds of stage presence, but he can't act. Luckily, though, Gyllenhaal can.
Before we start, do you have insurance?
What?
Your coverage good? Like, you have dental?
Oh, haha.
Is there a hospital nearby? Is it, like, too far?
About like 25 minutes, I'd say.
I just slapped you. Are you
Really
all right?
interesting guy, overall.
There's been a fair amount of controversy around this film. The director himself is boycotting the premiere because Amazon chose to release it direct to streaming, which is good for me, but not great for movies and movie theaters. Additionally, there were allegations that during the recent strike, AI technology was used for some of the voice work, but I don't know what the heck they're talking about. I can't see it. Can you?
Once Knox is on the job, it's over, baby. Hold still at home, wouldn't you? Hey, Dalton, you made me so wet or something. Boy, my name is Knox, and I come here for the... Wait a second. No, I'm not reading that.
Now, the technical issues may have been a bigger problem had this been a big screen release. The effects might not hold up that well on a larger screen, especially on IMAX or something. But on my home TV, which isn't too shabby, I had nothing to complain about. And the dubbing stuff was, I mean, if you're looking forward, it's there, but it's not the kind of movie where you really care that much. Technical issues aside, the story is pretty decent. What you have here is the story of a man who's capable of extreme violence, with a dark and angsty background. A man with nothing to live for, until he comes to a small town who needs the skills of a man just like him. Huh, never seen that done before. Except for, every other time we've seen it done. But there's nothing wrong with a tried and true storyline. Nothing wrong with trying to master the basics. At its core, this movie wants to be a Western. It even says so a few times. Instead of taking place in the Old West or even in the middle of Missouri, as the original Roadhouse did, this one takes place in the Florida Keys. So that has a bit of a Miami Vice-ish vibe to it. And when it's not feeling like some kind of boat chase Speed 2 wannabe, I think it really succeeds at what it's trying to be. Namely, a solid, basic action movie. And if that's what you want to see, I think you're going to like it. I did. Now, I wanted to like it, but I do try to be objective. And I love the original, not because it was good, but a lot of the time, if we're being honest, I loved it because it wasn't good. The original Roadhouse was cheesy and campy, and I don't even know it knew it. This movie knows it. It's trying to be a bit cheesy and campy, and it takes itself seriously at times, and pretty much the right doses. And if what you're looking for is the kind of movie you can put on some evening with a couple of dumbass friends and maybe have a drink or smoke a little something, then I'm pretty sure you're going to have a good time. And if you can't manage to have a good time, well, maybe.
You're too stupid to have a good time.
I mean, if I'm being objective, this movie's good. Decent. Not like an award winner, but hey, it's a good flick. Now, the first Roadhouse may be a classic, but that doesn't mean it's the better movie. This one, in fact, may be superior. All in all, I give it a 7 out of 10. If you love the original and you're skeptical, try to give it a chance. If nothing else, be nice. Until it's time to not be nice. Until next time, I've been the Electric Crow.